Well, obviously a lot of partners and moving parts to this collaboration. Merch, Seedphrase, Swarovski, Christie's. How did it come together?
Well, it sort of all started back in April when Seedphrase came for the merch Genesis launch event during NFT NYC. And we, started having casual discussions about doing something together. So it really started with Seedphrase and merch. And then throughout the past few months, all of these incredible collaborators have come into the picture. So I'm really proud of how merch has served as the architect of this drop to really be the conduit between worlds, between Web3 and between traditional fashion and traditional art. So we've commissioned Claire Silver to do all the artwork for the drop. We've also brought in Swarovski, and we're here at the Swarovski store today to do these incredible cord ends for 22 of the hoodies. And we have also partnered with Christie's on a sale for 5 lots, which will be on christies.com.
Yeah, so we have been, from some time now, since the Genesis drop, we had been feeling it out for, a little while. And, after such a successful, launch during NFT NYC, where I also contributed my, full set of autoglyphs, we got together and we basically, spoke about, potentially doing like a drop together. And I think, it very much, aligned with both of our brands as well. Obviously Seedphrase is a very high-end, iconic, luxury brand. And, obviously that is, merch as well. Merch is very much positioned to be high-end and luxury. And I really love, what merch is doing, with their generative process, the one-of-one pieces. It just made so much sense to, tie the palette of the punk into, infuse it into drop 2 and to really get that, together and, to really create a really special and memorable moment. And yeah, we're super excited and we really can't wait to really show everyone what we've been working on for the last 6 months.
I love it. Well, we've got 3 CryptoPunks, represented here. I know that the CryptoPunk community is a big part of the ethos of this drop, and obviously the 7 trait is the inspiration for many of the different traits and parts. Just talk a little bit about how you kind of incorporated the 7 trait punk and the CryptoPunk community ethos into drop 2.
So, the punk, Seedphrase and his punk are not only our collaborators for this drop, but the punk is the muse. So we really started with the punk as being not only so emblematic of Seedphrase's brand, but also just such an iconic figure for the space in general, specifically for the CryptoPunk community. And I'm really proud with how we've been able to extract and abstract the punk using sort of its base color palette, the 7 traits, but created a collection that feels both cohesive and super sort of honors the punk while also being, open to the punk community and not being so too closely tied to one output. So it was great for us to be able to use Seedphrase's punk as inspiration and then also use it as an ability, a way to engage the larger punk community for this drop.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And I know that there are some of the pieces have the Swarovski diamonds, right? Some of those are being auctioned with Christie's, and then others, it's a little bit more gamified, right? People don't know if they're going to reveal that one. Tell us a little bit about just how that works.
So, as Seedphrase was mentioning, we started with the silhouette of the hoodie. We added a 7th trait being the hoodie drawstring. And when we partnered with Swarovski, we really wanted to highlight the 7th trait as being, we wanted to use the 7th trait to highlight the ultra rare outputs. So we partnered with Swarovski to create cord ends. There's 5 different designs for the cord ends, each based off different traits of Seedphrase's punk. So there's the top hat, the glasses, the cigarette, the earring, and then the buck teeth. The top hat, glasses, cigarette, and earring are all Swarovski crystals set in sterling silver. But these buck teeth outputs are Swarovski created diamonds, hand set in 14 karat white gold. So there's 2 different buck teeth outputs of the 22 total hoodies that feature Swarovski cord ends. 5 of the 22, so one of each of the 5 designs, is going to be auctioned at Christie's, and then the other 17 outputs, including the other diamond one, will be in our public mint.
I think like the exciting part about that as well is like it becomes like almost like a lucky dip, right? You know, when you're buying a hoodie in the public auction sale, you know, you don't know what you're going to get. You know, can potentially land the diamond even, which I think is a really important part as well.
And that's something too that was really exciting to me when I started sort of understanding and studying the Web3 space, the NFT space, and thinking about how we can apply fashion and make, you know, position a brand, position a project that was felt very authentic to the space. And the mechanics that are, you know, familiar and pretty common in the Web3 space, to me, are so nuanced and interesting when you think about fashion. So if you think about buying a product but not knowing what output you get until it appears in your wallet, is so fresh and exciting to me when you're applying that logic to garments. So I love that gamified element to our drops, and that was something that was present in our first drop with, you know, different rarity traits such as the material. Some were French terry, some were cashmere, and is something that I would say is even more relevant for this drop.
No, great points, great points. Let's talk also about Claire Silver's involvement. I know that there are digital versions of each of the hoodies, and you got Claire involved. I know, Danny, I know you're a big AI art collector yourself, and obviously a lot of respect for Claire's artwork. So how did that all come together, and what do you think she brought to the project?
Yeah, look, like, you know, I think, you know, as you mentioned, you know, AI art has been a big focus of mine, you know, with my collecting. And, you know, when we were discussing, you know, who we wanted to, you know, to do this artwork for us, you know, we instantly thought like another punk needs to be able to do this, right? Like, you know, to stay on theme, it had to be a punk. You know, I already was like collecting a lot of like AI work. I respect Claire deeply. I think she's like an incredible artist. And so it was really like an easy decision for us. And, you know, like with the outputs that she has made, you know, obviously you have the one-of-ones that come with the Christie's auctions. And, you know, I think she did a wonderful job. You know, she really showed her like true, like, you know, skills with AI. And I think like they really came together like beautifully.
So Claire, for this drop, as Seedphrase was saying, it was really important for us to work with an artist that's a notable punk and someone that's, you know, has been in the punk community. So Claire was a natural fit. She produced 6 one-of-one, actually video works for us. There's 5 that are tied to each lot at Christie's. There's also an additional one-of-one video work that is tied to the diamond output in the main mint. And then we also commissioned her to do 9 edition works. So there's 9 different styles within the collection of 322 outputs. And Claire did 1 work corresponding to each style. However, she went the extra mile and really made them one-of-ones in the sense that, you know, this is a monochromatic hoodie, for example. So there's 7 monochrome hoodies. So all monochrome hoodies will get the same work, except the figure in that work will be wearing their unique hoodie. So they're, you know, sort of the convergence of one-of-ones and editions. It's really a one-of-one of X format. And to me, what's even sort of an added layer of excitement and what's even more interesting is when I think about it in the context of fashion, it really, to me, begs mention of like, fashion editorials or a lookbook, and what does a decentralized lookbook look like? So if you think about the future of fashion in the Web3 space, and you think about the, you know, pairing of digital and physical objects, it's not only someone owning the physical, but they own the image that it's paired with. So this whole decentralized lookbook narrative is something that I think is really interesting, and something that I think Claire's body of work, particularly the works she created for this drop, can really kind of usher in and represent this movement towards, you know, the future of fashion in Web3.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, part of our mission is bringing this movement from niche to mainstream. And so obviously partnering with the likes of Swarovski and getting this space, this tech, this movement, this culture in front of eyes that it might not normally is really significant. And that's something that we like to see in terms of just being able to bring new people into the space and, you know, move towards mainstream adoption. I'm curious, like, what have the reactions been from some of the people perhaps in like more in the traditional art, traditional fashion side of things, you know, who are kind of experiencing Web3 for the first time through this drop?
I have a number of friends from the traditional fashion and art side who were so supportive that they actually went through all of the sort of roadblocks of setting up a wallet, funding a wallet to participate in our first drop. And for this drop, I have, you know, our community has even expanded further because of Christie's being on board and having, you know, traditional fashion and art collectors be able to participate through the Christie sale. So that's been really exciting to see, just, you know, the natural reaction from our existing community and also people that want to be in it but are like, how do I buy these? I just want to buy a hoodie. So, you know, my hope is that we expand our footprint to be both inclusive of Web3, but also to onboard more individuals into the Web3 space, and doing it through partners like Swarovski, like Christie's is, you know, kind of the ultimate fit.
And I think like an important note to make there as well is that, you know, a lot of these, you know, trad art, trad fashion people, you know, they don't really resonate, you know, as much with like digital art, for example, right? So I think like this is a much easier concept for them to actually like comprehend, like having a physical hoodie that you can wear. It's connected through an NFC chip. You know, it's generative, it's one of one, neo couture. I think like that is definitely like a lot more like, you know, like it's palatable compared to, you know, trying to buy like an NFT, right?
No, I love that perspective. And, you know, I think I'd love to hear actually each of you sort of respond to this question, because I know you come from different backgrounds. It's cool to see it, you know, kind of coalesce into this partnership. But like, you know, what do you sort of see and what do you envision at the intersection of fashion and Web3 going forward?
Yeah, so like I think, you know, the future of fashion and, you know, Web3 as well, I think, you know, we are going to see a lot more customization, more personalization, obviously, you know, where merch is going now. You know, I really do think that's a really strong message. You know, I really do see, you know, more and more brands, you know, coming into that. You know, I even predicted, you know, years ago that I think that in the not too distant future, everything physical that you buy in store will always have a digital pair with it as well, right? So, you know, like naturally the world is going more digital. You know, we are just waiting for like the hardware to catch up. You know, when AR and VR is a lot more mainstream, which it is, you know, already making big strides in. I think it's just going to be a matter of time, like, you know, when a lot more people are starting to pay attention to this as well. It's going to be a very hot trend.
And, you know, I think one of the biggest sort of points of evolution of the merch brand from our Genesis drop to where we are today, or even pre-Genesis, pre-go-to-market, was the focus from heavily weighted towards the digital to now heavily weighted towards the physical. You know, when I initially started having conversations with collectors 3 years ago, and it was the height of the bull market, everyone was such digital maxis. They were like, you don't even need to do a physical. And me, coming from my background and being so, you know, tightly tied to fashion, I was insistent on there being a physical component to the drop. And I'm so happy that I was so insistent on that, because fast forward 2.5 years, you know, we didn't launch in the height of the bull market. And I feel like the physical component of the merch brand is so important, even to individuals that come, you know, natively from the Web3 space. So I would say the future of fashion is definitely a digital physical pairing. And I would even argue that rather than thinking of digital and physical as two separate verticals, you think about them laterally. And they really are, you know, two of the same. And I think for me too, you know, the merch of the future, what's really exciting is all of our utility built into the NFC chips of our hoodies. So, you know, previously, pre-launch, pre-Genesis, I would have said that the redemption of the physical is the end of the product journey. Whereas today, it's really only the beginning of the product journey. We just introduced our wearable wallet, which is accessed through every single NFC chip. If you scan the NFC chip, it takes you to your unique landing page where a number of collectors, of members of the merch community, RSVP'd for tonight's event through their wearable wallet. So it's all about, you know, really approaching fashion as a programmable piece of hardware and continuing to build and introduce new pieces of utility into our garments even after the point of redemption.
Love that. Well, I think, is there anything that we didn't get a chance to touch on that you still wanted to speak to about the collection?
I'm so excited to actually see this come to life. It's like surreal to be here with Seedphrase in the Swarovski store, being interviewed, seeing our diamond hoodie.
It turned out great.
It's wild to think, how we've come not only over the past 6 months, but really the past 3 months. So I'm just so excited for our Christie sale to go live. I'm so excited for hopefully the community to support through bidding, through minting. Our allow list window opens at 10 a.m. October 1st. The Christie sale runs from Wednesday, September 25th to Wednesday, October 2nd, closes at 10 a.m. Eastern. Our allow list window runs from 10 a.m. October 1st to 10 a.m. October 2nd. So both the Christie sale and the allow list period end at the same time. And then public mint opens at 11 a.m. October 2nd. So I'm excited. I hope everyone, not only the punk community, but all of the Web3 community come and mint their merch. And I can't wait to see these incredible, incredible products out in the world.
It's hoodie season.
It's always hoodie season. Yeah, it's always hoodie season.